This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the LCTV News. I'm Danny Vittori, and this week is organized into sections related to city news, holiday celebrations, and education. We have a double lowdown this week, covering the arts and cultural representation that is invaluable to a city as diverse as Lynn. Here is the news for Friday, April 25th, 2025. Tuesday, the 22nd, the City of Lynn announced the appointment of Michelle LaPoetica Richardson as its first ever Poet Laureate. Approved by City Council that same day, Richardson will serve a 2-year term using poetry to uplift, connect, and reflect the heart of the Lynn community. Councilor-at-Large Nicole McLean introduced the Poet Laureate program to Lynn in 2024, which was then made possible through a collaboration between the City of Lynn, the Downtown Lynn Cultural District, and community leaders. Richardson, a bilingual daughter of Dominican immigrants and longtime resident of Lynn, was selected through a competitive application process. Her experience as a performer, mentor, community advocate, and strong supporter of the arts made her a standout candidate for the role. Now, Richardson will be responsible for public readings, community engagement, and the creation of original works that reflect the city's diverse culture, and she will receive a $2,500 stipend for her services. With this appointment, Lynn becomes only the 18th municipality in Massachusetts to designate a Poet Laureate. Last Saturday, the city was bustling, beginning bright and early with the first spring park cleanup at Lynn Common. Close to 50 volunteers came out and spent their morning picking up trash and stray leaves as part of an ongoing effort to keep Lynn clean.
We are here for our 8th season as we kick off at Lynn Commons on April 19th. I'm Brian Field. I am the co-chair of the City of Lynn Litter Committee along with Councilor Vice President Diana Shakutis. I'm joined here with my colleague from Ward 6 where we are today, Fred Hogan.
Yeah, none of this takes place without great volunteers, and the volunteers come out in droves. Every time we go to a different park or a different cleanup, we have a different group of volunteers. This park right here, the Lynn Commons, is a divide of our Ward 6 and Ward 5, so we got a mixture of everyone throughout the whole city, like we said, and it's amazing that people just step up for the City of Lynn just to make our city clean.
I think probably, 50 volunteers again this Saturday. We're joined with our friends from the Lynn Rotary.
And we are here today trying to help the city clean up. We try to do a lot of support of the city and a variety of volunteer needs. We tend to go to places like Salvation Army and help distribute food, but this is one of our favorite volunteer things because it gets us outside.
Different church organizations, different youth programs around the city. Mayor Nicholson is here, Councilor Allenson, Councilor Meji Madry, Rep Reed, school committee member Castellanos is here. All here, taking time out of our Saturdays to help make a difference in our city. There's a number of volunteers. This is our first for the 2025 season. In spring, we do 10 Saturdays of cleanups throughout the city. Many hands make light work. We can always use volunteers. Pastor Caceres from his church, number of different volunteers. Today, there's a lot of first-time volunteers and there's a lot of repeat volunteers. I see people that have been here for almost every every cleanup that we've had over the last 7, 8 seasons.
That's one thing, we always want our city to be clean, and that's what we do out here on Saturdays, and we're happy to come out here and do our part also. But like I said, I like to thank everyone that comes out here and partakes in this here process, so it's a great thing.
This was followed by the Latino Support Network's Earth Day celebration at Frederick Douglass Memorial Park. Representatives from half a dozen organizations were on hand, educating members of the community about weatherization, heat resilience, and local produce options.
Hi, I'm Alexis again from Emerald Cities Collaborative, and today we are co-hosting an Earth Day celebration with the Latino Support Network, and I'm joined here by Cardelli's. But really the purpose behind the event is just to bring together a bunch of different organizations that are working on different aspects of community and community health and energy and climate, and really to bring together a lot of different resources that people may not be aware about.
So today we're joined with a bunch of really cool organizations in Lynn that are doing work around climate. Obviously there's LSN and ECC, but we're also joined together by some of our other partners like the Food Project, who's doing an interactive raised bed activity for folks. There's also the Green Energy Consumers Alliance with an interactive EV demonstration. We have our partners from MAPC who've been working on 2 different projects together around the Greater Boston Climate Action Plan and the heat resiliency pilot, really just getting people's inputs on how they deal with both of those issues.
And we're also here today to promote our Emerald Connections program, which is a weatherization and healthy homes pilot that Emerald Cities Collaborative as well as Latino Support Network are doing together, and that's also in partnership with Action Incorporated, the local CAP agency here.
And we've also had really good partners from the Greater Lynn Senior Services, who provided us some produce from their food pantry program that we've given out to some residents. And it's just a good time with music, games, and community.
Forward with the left. 1, 2, 3.
A monument honoring longtime CIA operative and Lynn native Richard Fecteau will be rededicated on April 30th at 1 p.m. at the corner of Maple Street and Euclid Ave. Fecteau, a Lynn English High and BU graduate, was captured during a CIA mission in 1952 and held prisoner in a Chinese prison for 20 years. For years, the U.S. denied the true nature of the mission, so Fecteau remained in captivity until diplomatic efforts secured his release 2 decades later. Following his release in 1971, Fecteau dedicated his life to helping others, working as an assistant athletic director at BU until his retirement in 1989. While he has never spoken publicly in detail about his experiences, his story became a symbol of sacrifice, loyalty, and quiet heroism. The new memorial, coordinated by the City of Lynn, Lance Corporal Bradley Campus Memorial Scholarship Committee, and the Lynn Veterans Council, will include 2 flagpoles and a mounted display board recounting Fecteau's story. Lynn Main Streets is bringing a new downtown beautification initiative in the form of a free planter program for local storefronts later this spring. This is one of several programs being offered to foster a more welcoming, vibrant downtown while also supporting small local businesses. Lynn Main Streets was originally founded in early 2020, so many of their plans had to be delayed or changed. Now, with no more public health restrictions, they can return to their original goals. The Sidewalk Planter program is being funded through the American Rescue Plan Act and will provide 10 downtown businesses with large seasonal flower displays designed and maintained by JC Grounds Management. The planters will be refreshed 3 times a year and placed in front of eligible businesses in the city's cultural district. There is no fee to participate, and the application deadline is May 10th. Contact Lynn Main Streets directly for questions or more information. Easter was celebrated across the city this past weekend with Easter egg hunts in several wards. LCTV was on site for the Ward 3 egg hunt, which saw a large group of children and families spread out across Kiley Park to collect their prizes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
On April 20th, Ward 3 Councilor Coco Allenson held his annual neighborhood Easter egg hunt.
Welcome to Ward 3. If you're from here, welcome. If you're not from here, welcome as well.
Held this year at Kiley Park, Coco and his team of volunteers, which included 20 ROTC members, hid eggs, gave out treats, provided pictures with the Easter Bunny, and more.
And I am so excited to see everybody out here enjoying this beautiful day, and most importantly, this beautiful neighborhood, this beautiful community.
The 2 baseball fields were covered in eggs for the city's youth to grab. Filled with various goodies, some golden eggs were scattered in the bunch, featuring gift cards and cash prizes. After just a few minutes, all the eggs were found during this fun afternoon celebrating Easter in Ward 3.
Happy Easter!
For LCTV News, I'm Danny Vittori. Raw Artworks unveiled their newest pop-up exhibit at Lynn Arts this past Monday. The group, Meant to Be, proudly showcased their work, where they were encouraged to display their emotions and struggles as they become adults.
But then we looked at Basquiat, the artist, not about what he draws about, but how he creates feeling with his lines. That was a challenge to the fellas.
We looked at like quite a few of reference images of his, artwork to really gain some like inspiration, to create our artwork.
I think a lot of the young men that we get to make art with that raw walk in with these armor that they kind of have to have. We want them to realize that they can take that off at some times and pull it out when they need to, but then there's variations of that armor, and art is one of those that allows them to find out who they want to be.
So basically these 2 individuals that you see here in the middle of the artwork, that is me and Victor there. Basically there's this force field that's surrounding us that's made of our negative emotions, so like our sadness, anger, stuff like that, And it's basically got us trapped in isolation in this, bubble here. And basically, these things you see around us, so like video games, sports, music, they're strong enough to like break down the bubble that we're in and, penetrate through, and enter and reach us, make us feel happy, excited, enthusiastic, stuff like that. So it's really nice to see some of my, more modern work up here.
They create a safe space for each other to be vulnerable about things like this. So this is a big old letter that he did on the spot last week to finish it. I asked him to think about if he had to work with a group of young men, like what would he tell them when he gets older. And the message that he started with this project, it still holds on for all of us. So round of applause, my man.
The Greater Commonwealth Virtual School is a free MA virtual public school option for grades K through 12. They are a registered public school with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, considered their own district, and they are now accepting applications for the upcoming 2025-26 school year. GCVS offers classes taught by MA licensed teachers for grades K through 8 and live or flex classes for grades 9 through 12. Students in good academic standing can also apply for their dual enrollment program with Greenfield Community College to earn college credit. April vacation was this past week, and that meant the return of the Essex County DA's Office Youth Sports Clinic. Groups of kids gathered at Manning Field for this free flag football clinic run by instructors from Rex Fitness. They participated in several drills, meant to improve their skills in a fun environment. The Office of Essex County District Attorney Paul Tucker brought back their free youth sports clinic for the third year. Running from April 22nd to the 25th, droves of kids ranging from 8 to 16 years old came to participate in flag football drills and scrimmages.
I'm Coach Corey. We have 20 coaches with us. You'll get to know all the coaches at your groups. Our camp here, first and foremost, is to have fun, but we are going to work on skills. So you guys are going to get a little better by the time you leave every day from when you walk through the door. We do scrimmages, we'll do flag pulling games, we'll do one-on-ones, snake, anything that involves football we're going to do. We also do free time activities, so there'll be times where we give you guys free time to choose the activity you want to do, which can be anything from fishy to games. I know. We have dodgeball, we have wiffle ball. So it's a flag football first camp, but you guys are going to get to do everything.
This clinic is offered every year during April vacation, serving the dual purpose of giving kids a chance to get outside while also working to improve their football skills. It was a day of fun, smiles, and team building. For LCTV News, I'm Danny Vittori. May is a busy month for Raw Artworks, and they broke it all down for us on the Lowdown this past week. Not only is Art Week coming up later in the month, but they also kick off May with their largest event of the year, the Raw Artworks Bash. Hear more about these and the impact of art for their youth on the Lowdown. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Danny Vittori, and today we welcome back on Raw Artworks. Today we have Jason Cruz. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, welcome.
Of course. So would you mind just real quick introducing yourself for the audience and your role within Raw Arts?
My name is Jason Cruz. I'm the Director of Culture Experience. I'm also an expressive arts therapist at Raw. I think that's it.
All right. And you said you've been there for almost 30 years now. It's very impressive. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see the city grow and Raw grow and be able to reach deeper into the neighborhoods and seeing alumni come back to help enhance the programming with their wisdom and knowledge. So we're pretty blessed.
Mm-hmm. And today you're here to talk about a few specific events, but before I get into that, would you mind just real quick going over the main mission of Raw, like what your purpose is?
So our mission is to reach out into the community and create safe spaces at Raw for young people to explore life with art, through art. And we're rooted in expressive arts therapies, which allows us avenues to ask questions and create spaces for young people to make art that they explore what life is like and what it could be like for them.
Nice. And one way you do that is you're going to be having your bash, your Arts Bash, in a few weeks. That's a very large fundraiser for you, but what is involved in that?
Well, on the way here, I was thinking about May, and May seems like the month where a lot of the big things culminate at Raw.
Yeah.
And our bash is about making it so our young people can get snacks, have art supplies, have safe spaces. So we have people from the community come and support us by buying some art that's going to be auctioned, that's made by alumni and or community members to make sure that young people can come to Raw at no cost. And allows us to focus on helping young people keep moving through the community.
And that must be pretty incredible for the alumni, too, to think, my artwork's being sold. Like, that's an amazing feeling to probably see your artwork displayed like that.
Yeah, I think we have a program that's been developing for many years where we can pay some of our alumni to come back if they choose to make works of art that can mean something to them or there's absolutely beautiful, but like there's a commitment to that when you have a whole life, when you're adulting, then to come back to a place you stopped going when you were like 18 or whatever. So it's kind of for those who work there like myself, when alumni make space to come back and offer their talents to make sure other generations can get the opportunity of Raw, it's kind of amazing.
Mm-hmm. And it speaks to the strength of the program, too, because you have quite a few alumni come back. So it really shows, you said, the impact that it had on them, because they may not have been back for a few years, but they still make the space and time to do so.
Absolutely. And I think it's kind of, there's something about a staff person or myself saying something to a kid, right? But then when an alumni comes back and visits a group and they share their story, that's the greatest validation we can have as clinicians or community members that are artists, for a young person to speak on behalf of the program and how they felt about it. I think it's also important that people understand, like, for RAW to be successful, we need to listen to our alumni because they can validate our work, but also make sure that's relative to what's happening today. So we have several staff in leading roles right now that make it so the programming is still true to what we're trying to do in the community, but also reflective of how to enhance what's going on. So I've been there for 30 years. I'm blessed to do that. And honored to be serving the community, but also know, like, I have a perspective. You know, so I want to be able to listen to what's happening. So.
And in relation to, we're talking about with the bash, you mentioned it's on May 3rd, but what is the more specific timing? Like, where is it being held, all of that?
It's going to be held at 37 Central Square at Raw Artworks. Every year is different. This year, it's about amplifying and magnifying. So I'm not going to give away what's happening, but if you want to see rawartworks.org, look it up, look up tickets, and understand, like, you buying a ticket makes it so a young person can enjoy opportunities to create in ways they don't get a chance to do in any other places. So whatever comes through the door is going to help get pencils, snacks, field trips. But also, ultimately, it creates a space for young people to gather in the city that's safe enough for them to be who they want to be.
And on that note, too, you were mentioning May is really a culmination of a lot of your events. You also have Art Week, which happens the 26th to the 30th, a little bit later. And you said you had 3 major events. Yes?
Yes. So that's, actually, I left Raw right now to come here. We were taking on the show, preparing it for our events that are coming up. So the first event in Art Week is going to be at the Cabot Theater with our Reel to Reel folk program. So the young people have been making film art, I guess you want to call it, that will be screened at the Cabot Theater. So we're collaborating with Cabot Theater to make sure that we get to bring Lynn and its creativity to another community, which is really cool. But I think we were just talking earlier about pulling up to Raw and seeing your name in this screen that's like, I made that, and you get to share your ideas. So our young people get to do that. Following that, at the end of the week, would be our annual block party, where we close down the street and open our windows to make sure people can see the stage, invite community members. I think the school committee I think might be coming to, like, set up tables and stuff like that.
Nice.
So we're trying to make it so it's more inclusive, and we're trying to take up the block in a way that's conducive to what the community needs or wants. So there's going to be a DJ, snacks. Our leadership team of students from STARS will be hosting pretty much, like being docents inside the building and making sure the snacks are ready and flowing.
Now, I've been to both events before, Reel to Reel, and then I was at the block party last year, and they're always so fun, but they're definitely a mix of that and offering resources, or really offering a safe space for people to just be themselves. Absolutely.
I think nothing's perfect, right? But I think we really try to make sure it's youth-led or youth-focused, not just the ideas the kids have. So, like, we want to make sure it's fun, it's welcoming. We want to make sure that it's sensitive to what's going on in the world, but also, like, keeping it real. So the themes that you see in the art show are really important to the kids. So every leader that's designed something with the kids' input will be reflected in the work. Also, there's activities on the street, painting the street, chalk work, bubbles, popcorn. So it's, it feels like a moment where people can just actually relax for a day. And we usually get blessed with good weather, hopefully, knock on wood.
Yes, hopefully.
But I think it just feels like fun and safe, and like city leaders come out, but it's not about that they're city leaders, it's like they're part of the community too. So our young people and families can interact with everybody. It's kind of cool.
No, it is. It's amazing. And as you were saying, even for Reel to Reel, seeing your name up there is like no other feeling in the world.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about like your voice and speaking.
Yeah.
And I think there's many ways to speak, right? So the basic one is your voice, but then if you're not comfortable with that, you can make art and use words to say what's on your piece about. When it comes to filmmaking, there's an opportunity for them to speak about their film on stage at the end. So you get to talk to the artists and the filmmakers. It's pretty cool.
You were mentioning earlier, it's another way to speak, a way that might make them feel more comfortable, or a way to express things where they may not know how else to.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on in the world right now. Mm-hmm. Let's just keep it real. And I don't think anybody, even adults, don't know how to talk about it. So art helps you have an avenue to think about what you want to say, whether it's visually, on camera, spoken word, drawing, illustrations. But then at Raw, we're able to create a space to talk about what that could mean for you, and hopefully create spaces for young people to say what's on their mind without judgment, and have a space to find out what they can become.
And I didn't get a chance to ask, the major events you mentioned during Art Week, are those free and open to the community?
The only one that's not free, because we want to pay for all kinds of things, is the Bash.
Okay.
The block party is open to the community. We want as many people to come through the building and hear the kids' voices through their art, actually meet the artists if they want, and also the co-leaders of the programming. Mm-hmm. Like I said earlier, with Reel to Reel going to Cabot, we get to bring Lynn and film working mm-hmm. and raw artworks to another city. Yeah. So it's another way to get the voice out there for all the wonderful work young people are doing in Lynn. I believe the Cabot film screening for Reel to Reel is free also.
Oh, fantastic.
So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Really opening it up to the community, connecting people, getting to go there. And I know I do have to wrap up in a moment. It always goes by so fast. But was there anything else you wanted to mention about these events, about Raw in general?
I think that Raw is really thankful for being able to be in the city this long. We want to expand in a way that's conducive to what's happening. And we appreciate when our public art teams go out there and create art that's relative to what the people are asking for. And we want to continue to create opportunities for young people to be seen and heard in ways that are progressive for them. Mm-hmm. And please come to our openings. And if you have questions, come visit.
Yeah. The events that you put on are always phenomenal. Like I said, I've been to a few, and I want to thank you again so much for really coming on and helping to amplify Raw's voice.
Thank you. Thanks for asking. Thanks for having us here.
Of course, anytime. And once again, I'm Danny Vittori. This has been another edition of the Lynn Lowdown, and we will see you next week with more guests. This week it was softball with the English First Classic matchup. Ultimately, the Rams came out on top 17-5 over the Bulldogs. But don't let the score deceive you. English actually struck first, going up 3-0 in the third. However, in the top of the fifth, with the bases loaded and no outs, the Bulldogs failed to score any insurance runs. Then in the bottom of that inning, Classical kicked it into another gear, scoring 13 runs off 10 hits to take a commanding 16-5 lead. The Rams remained hot, quadrupling up on Somerville 16-4. Elisa Oles did it all, going 3 for 4 with a 3-run homer at the plate, while striking out 9 in 4 innings on the mound. Freshman Emma Pinto recorded her first varsity hit and RBI, and Chloe Corbett tacked on an RBI double in the win. While the Bulldogs bounced back, taking down Chelsea 14-1 on the 21st. English was patient and walked 12 times in the game. Kate Johansson went the whole way on the mound, only allowing 1 hit and 1 run with 8 strikeouts. English then left over Malden 18-6 on the 23rd. Annika Johansson picked up her first varsity win, striking out 8 while only allowing 3 runs. She also added on 3 hits and 3 RBIs at the plate for good measure. 3 other Bulldogs recorded multi-hit games, doing most of their damage in the third when they scored 9. St. Mary's battled hard in the Medway April Vacation Softball Tournament, but met their match against Foxborough in a 4-1 final. Lynn Tech came closer, but fell to 1-7 on the year off a tight 14-13 loss to Notre Dame Cristo Rey. Undefeated no more, St. Mary's baseball suffered their first loss of the season, 3-1 at the hands of St. John's Shrewsbury, despite a 6 strikeout performance by Josh Donnie. while Lynn English put on a show in a 20-1 final over Chelsea. The Bulldogs crossed the plate 20 times off 13 hits, including a 2-run homer by Gilbert Galva. Eldry Bonilla picked up the win, going 2 innings, giving up 2 hits, a run, and punching out 5. English then faltered, dropping a tough 9-4 final to Malden on the 23rd. Christian Figueroa was the difference for the Rams in a 3-0 victory over Somerville. The senior threw a complete game no-hitter, finishing the game with 14 strikeouts and 2 walks. Tied 0-0 going into the bottom of the 6th, the Rams found some offense and scored all 3 of their runs. No home field was no problem for Classical, as they put on an offensive clinic 20-2 over Chelsea. Ronald Bree went deep for a 3-run shot, and Damien Munoz went 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs. Turning to volleyball, the Rams dropped a tough 5-set match to Somerville. Classical won the first and third match, but was unable to put Somerville away in a 3-2 final. The Red Sox are beginning to see some offensive power, but consistency remains a problem. They hosted and took down the Seattle Mariners 8-3 on the 22nd, in a game that featured several unique plays, including a broken bat flying to the infield. Tristan Casas broke out of his slump, launching a 3-run homer in the 7th inning. Boston then dropped the next game 8-5. 2-0 in the opening series. The Celtics head to Florida with the advantage over the Orlando Magic, having won the first 2 games 103-86 and 109-100. Even more impressive, Boston won the second game without their all-star Jason Tatum, who was out with the wrist injury. But Jaylen Brown stepped up, recording a 36-point, 10-rebound night, featuring several drives to the basket. Kristaps Porzingis was the fan favorite, however. Not only did he score 20 points and grab 10 rebounds, he took an elbow to the face in the 4th and took his free throws with a Band-Aid on his forehead, blood in his hair, and a huge smile. Our neighbors at the Community Minority Cultural Center stopped by for a visit to give some insight on their mission and upcoming events. Their executive director, Daryl Merkinson, actually participated in several CMCC programs as a youth, and is now getting the chance to pay it forward to the next generation. Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Danny Vittori, and today we have on Daryl Merkinson from the Community Minority Cultural Center. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. I know it's been a few years since you've been on here. The setup's a little different, but we always appreciate you coming back in.
It's a pleasure's all mine. I just look forward to giving you all the information you need and sharing this with the community when I give it out, as I'm given the opportunity.
And we were even talking about before we came on air, the CMCC. You have a long history with it. You used to go there, you said, as a teenager, young person, and now you're helping to run it. So it's really been full circle for you. And can you maybe explain a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, I would say my first encounters with Community Minority Cultural Center, again, I was a young teenager, 13, 14 years old, where I'd say the people that were running at that time, Adam Darby and Virginia Barton, they would have a lot of the young people from the community come down to CMCC. They had African dance troupes there. They had drum and bugle corps. Wow. They would take us on field trips and teach you about Black history and culture at CMCC. So again, that's going back to like 1973, 74. Wow.
And the current building that you're in now that you help with, you said you moved into a 99, so you've been on Union Street, right down the street from us, for many years now, too. Yeah,
CMCC was originally, the original space was at 33 Sutton Street, where now it's occupied by the Latino Business Association. If you know where Rossetti's restaurant is, just on the other side of Rossetti's, the opposite end. CMCC was there, much smaller space. But to my knowledge, CMCC moved from that space because of they were looking just to expand, and it was an old department store called Empire right there on our current 298 Union Street had gone out of business, and the owner actually donated the building to CMCC, and I'd say the directors at that time took on this ordeal to get a larger space, but they had to take out improvement loans to change and improve and update the building. Yeah. And that brings us to where we are right now. CMCC started there in 1999 to present.
And would you just be able to give a quick overview of what the main mission of the CMCC is?
The mission of CMCC is to uplift the community, the minority community in general, because it actually started back in 1971 through a program called the Model Cities Program, where urban renewal was taking place throughout the city in an area they call like the Brickyard, where a lot of immigrants and African American people lived in that particular area. Yep. So the mission of CMCC was to create job opportunities for them, housing, culture, all these to improve their quality of life, even give them information about voter registration, voter information, again, how-to type of things, which I'll get into later, which we're trying to do now. Yeah. Let people know about financial literacy and things of that nature, just to eliminate blight all over the city, particularly in those areas called like the Brickyard.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. And you've been with them since, you said, what, 2016 or so?
Yes. Yes. And from the beginning, the CMCC was actually came out of the, I would say, an idea or a concept formed by the North Shore NAACP, which created CMCC.
Oh, okay. I see you.
Because again, trying to help people improve their quality of life with education and job opportunities, business opportunities, housing, things of that nature.
Which you're carrying forward through to today. You're saying you even had interns last summer from one of the local high schools. You know, you're really carrying that forward. And so what are some of the current programs that you're offering?
Right now, looking into like those things we just mentioned, we've done it over the past few years. We've had how-to seminars on how to buy a home, health care, voter registration, voter information. We've had candidates nights there. Just looking for different ways to do outreach and give people information on how they can improve their lives. And again, it's about eliminating joblessness and hopelessness to people and give them hope and just a brighter future for them and their children.
And all the issues you just mentioned, too, they can be so complex, of so many moving parts, it can be really overwhelming. So it's great that you are giving them a space where they can come and ask these questions that they may have.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the most important thing. You may take for granted that people know all of these things, right?
Right.
How to balance their checkbooks, how to make a budget, things of that nature. Where do you go to start a business? How do you get funds for that? How do you even acquire a home for yourself? All these things that may be, pretty basic to a lot of people. They're not basic to everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
In particular, people in the minority community.
So you're really extending it out to them, and especially, you said, for Black History Month, which was last month, you said you did 15 events in 28 days. So that was a marathon. You went for it. Yeah,
we did. We thought about it for a minute. The reason why it actually it ballooned until, and again, I'm going to say it ballooned because no one else is doing this. Yeah. No, I challenge anyone, any other group, anywhere, to say they've done 15 events in 28 days. So the reason why it kind of ballooned into that, because when we were doing the planning for this, we've had events most of our events were scheduled for the evening when people got out of work and got out of school. Yeah. And then one of our board members brought it to my attention that it also fell during school vacation week in February. So we were doing it like 2 a days. We would have showing a film in the afternoon in case kids were out and about, and in the evening when people got out of work, so it was like double. And that was it was really that was really centered around the films that we did like twice a day.
Oh wow!
And mostly it was me. So
you saw a lot of films.
I did. I saw a lot, and I learned as I was teaching. Because again, repetition. You're learning things too.
And I know you had the jazz night that I remember I went to, where you were able to show off the paintings and then your magazine exhibit as well, which is very impressive that you have there.
Yeah, that's something we were really very proud of. The event you're speaking of, we had a jazz and art exhibit.
Yes.
Along with our one of our what we call our ongoing exhibits is our Ebony magazine photo exhibit that shows you and illustrates many African American people as well as events as portrayed in Ebony magazine. That is iconic photographs of events and people.
That you even said you got from, because the magazine doesn't exist anymore, so a lot of what you have, you got from your members who maybe saved them.
Correct.
Wow.
For people who aren't aware, Ebony magazine is now defunct. It's no longer in existence. But it had been a staple for the black community for many, many years for information and history and knowledge of many different things. So there was many stories as well as the photographs were taken in Ebony magazine. But now that it's been, let's just say defunct, it's no longer in publication, those original photographs from Ebony magazine were purchased by a museum that's now in Chicago, has the original photographs. But in those particular magazines, all of those photographs were there for many years, and people had saved them over time. But like anything else, you might have Time, People magazine, whatever it is. You have these things, but you don't keep them. It's not for very long. You keep them for a while, and then people throw them away because you can't just keep all of this stuff, right?
No, you can't have all the stacks.
Some people did. They were fortunately, I'd say, for us and for I'd say the community as a whole. Some of our members did keep some of those magazines, and we were able to go through them and take out some of the memorable photos as they're categorized. And we've mounted them and put them in frames, and people can come and see them and realize the value that it has for Black history.
Teaching people the history, so you're doing both, teaching people the history, but also helping really anyone who needs it to look towards the future as well. You really cover both sides of the spectrum there.
Absolutely. We do the best we can with that. Because a lot of the issues that are brought up within the magazine in which they illustrate are still relevant today. And they show some of the iconic people that took on these struggles and battles and what they had to go through, and they have their photographs there showing what they've done. And there's usually, there was not really usually, but always there was a story behind the photograph and telling you exactly what's happened there, what the challenges were.
Yeah, give you the entire history for sure. And I know I do have to wrap up in a moment, but I said thank you again so much for coming on. But was there anything else that I hadn't mentioned that you wanted to make sure we touched upon?
Well, I would say one of the main things I'd like to touch upon briefly is that CMCC is in a constant, I'll call it a struggle, to just maintain and update our facility so that we can do more outreach to people and offer them spaces in which to come to have events there themselves, and as well as us providing different programs for them to come to. We need I would say a nice workable, livable, and viable space that's updated, that they would feel comfortable in, and they feel just able to access. So we're working towards that. So we look for all the support we can possibly get, which we have been getting from the city. They support us in all the things we're trying to do and give people their information to improve their lives. So CMCC is moving forward, and we look forward to many more years of helping and upgrading lives of the lives of our community members.
No, and I said, based on the events that I've seen, I'm really excited to see what the future holds for you, and I can't wait to see what other new exciting things that you're coming up with.
And likewise, we as well, we anticipate having a great year. We're planning some things for the spring and moving into the fall, along with continuing our upgrading the building.
Awesome. That all sounds great, and thank you again so much for coming on a show with our community.
And I thank you for the opportunity, and again, every time we're looking to have something, Lynn Cable TV has always been there to support us, so you'll be hearing more from us.
All right, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it, and you heard it here first. Check out here to stay updated on all the events happening throughout the city. But once again, I'm Danny Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. Celebrate Arbor Day by attending the City of Lynn's tree planting ceremony. Head down to the Lynn Public Schools Early Childhood Center at 100 Bennett Street to hear an official proclamation from the mayor. They will also be planting 5 trees and giving out 200 seedlings to residents so they can grow their own plants at home. This is a free, family-friendly event occurring from 10 to 11 a.m. on Tuesday, April 29th. Join the Millennium Latino Project for a Bachata Night Diaper Drive from 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Thursday, May 1st at Lynn Arts. Come for a beginner-friendly bachata lesson, followed by an open dance floor with DJ JD. Admission is $25 or a box of unopened diapers at the door. All donations will benefit Centerboard, NAAM, and Mamas Unidas, supporting local families in need. You can register online through lyntv.org. Celebrate in style at the Cacrona Center's 2025 Khmer New Year Festival. Originally scheduled for tomorrow, it will now take place on May 3rd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Taking up most of Lynn Common, this festival gets bigger every year. There will be cultural performances, food and shopping vendors, live music, raffles, games, and much more. This event is free, family-friendly, and open to everyone in the community. That brings us to the end of another newscast. As always, stay up to date on all the latest happenings and announcements by following us on social media at Lynn Community Television. For more information on the events listed above, as well as our complete community calendar, videos on demand, and news, visit lyntv.org. If you prefer videos focused on community events and government coverage, then Lynn Community Television on YouTube is the place for you. I'm Danny Vittori, this is LCTV News, and we will see you next week.
This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.